Hello, this is Gambia 24 with me, Sohna Tunkara. Let's look at our news bulletin. Pandemic devastate boat owners earning at the Banjul.
Many commuters experience
Gambia commercial drivers and passengers quarrel over fare. These and more coming up on Gambia 24. Stay tuned. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. The coronavirus pandemic has affected almost all aspects of life and livelihoods of Gambians, as in the case in many countries around the world. Wooden boat owners plying the 7-mile waterway between Banjul and Barra are no exception to the devastation on earnings caused by the virus outbreak, Absagay reports.
Wooden boat owners plying the 7-mile waterway between Banjul and Barra are no exception of the devastating earnings caused by the coronavirus outbreak. The number of passengers riding in wooden boats have greatly decreased as many people limit crossing from the city to the north of the Gambia to avoid contracting the virus. The head of the Banjul boat captains, Abdullah Fall, said the pandemic puts them in a very difficult situation and that their work has been seriously affected, because daily their income from transporting passengers have been severely sliced by the pandemic. Fall said it was important for the government to ease taxes in order to help them sustain their families with the little money they earn.
Gal mu don fay bu ñëka $300. Légui ya nga fay gal $3,500. Té suñu liggéey melatul non. Ya nga gis té amuñ ben dimbal.
The Navy are here with us and do not allow the boat skippers to overload the boats due to the coronavirus. They make sure that all passengers wear life jackets and all the safety precautionary measures, while boat captains wait on the government to ease taxes to help their economic and social lives. Measures to contain the spread of the coronavirus are being enforced at the beach by the Gambian Navy.
From that report by Absagay, earlier on when the first case of coronavirus were reported in the country, commercial drivers were limited to carrying half the capacity of their vehicles and a fare increased by $2. But when the state of emergency was lifted in July, business resumed for the public transportation sector as usual car loads to their capacity. Yet drivers maintained the $2 fare increase. Now passengers want to return to paying $8, the original fare for places charged $10, but it is bringing a lot of quarrel between them and commercial drivers. More in this report.
Many commuters experience the hurdle of paying multiple fares on a daily basis for distances that originally require only one fare. Van and taxi drivers take advantage of a public transportation services system that is limited in capacity and in effective service delivery to unfairly charge multiple fares for single fares destination. At the job, a resident of Nema Johnson pays up to 3 fares to Serekunda, which is $30 for a route that is supposed to be $10. Now, Job and many other commuters want the government to intervene as public frustration grew over transport problems in the Gambia.
That is happening. Any driver that carries passengers from Coastal Road would say Tabokoto, and when he reaches Tabokoto, he would pick passengers again for Westfield or Serekunda. Sometimes in the evening, when there is traffic jam, some drivers would pick passengers and drop them at Nema Junction. and from Nema Junction to Latirkunda. When you reach Latirkunda, they would say Westfield or Serekunda. This is the problem we are facing, and we are really tired of it.
Some commuters just ignore the overpriced fares and pay their way to their workplaces because they do not want to argue with drivers over $2 change, while others felt it is affordable. But taxi driver Abraham Anchalo said he doesn't force passengers to pay $10. He said he negotiates fares before passengers board his taxi, but he supports a fares increase.
We want the government to look into the issue of the fares and increase it a bit. Let the fares be increased a bit because this $8 fare is bringing problems. You may pardon me, while someone may not. Where we supposed to give $2 or $3 change, let them remove it. Where people pay $13, let it be 15, and where people pay $8, let it be 10, and where people pay $18, let it be 20. If this happens, there will be no coin to return, and this will bring peace.
Transport fare increases have always been linked to high fuel prices, but the Gambia government reduced fuel prices twice in April and May 2020 to ease expected economic troubles brought about the pandemic. Now, drivers and commercial vehicle owners are saying an increase in fares will be justified by the poor condition of roads in the rainy season. Transportation troubles continue for commuters who rely on them. For iAfrica TV, Omar Ahmad Toure.
From that report on public transport by Omar Toure, in 2020, many forward-looking political players and citizens thought coups were a thing of the past, until President of Mali Ibrahim Abubakar Keita was overthrown on Tuesday, 18th August. Rebel soldiers had in 20th century Africa made the military an important equation in African politics with several coups and counter-coups. But what is the significance of the military's role in African politics? Mariama Cham reports.
Coup d'etat is a random activity in West African sub-region. Mutineers usually attribute the act to poor governance, corrupt leadership, or power show-off by office holders. Dr. Felix Oyejide Omotoso, a political scientist and lecturer at the University of the Gambia, explains the significance of military governments in Africa's democratization.
The significance of military rule in Africa can be attributable to correctional measure, where they come to put things in order when situation has degenerated to an unmanageable control, and the option left is to see such power removed illegitimately, even though military rule is an aberration in politics. But people are always willing to welcome them because they feel that they have helped them to solve a very pertinent problem. And what problem? Problem of discontinuing the discontent and the sovereigns people are currently going through in the hands of the political gladiators.
Even when they are struggling to meet basic services or their governments lack the capacity to address major socio-political problems like acts of corruption, insecurity, poverty, and unemployment, many African leaders hold on to power by all means. Political analyst Dr. Omotoso said it is important to current African leaders to see power as a privilege entrusted to them by their people.
In Africa, it is time for our leaders to learn lessons from what has been happening before and what is happening now. This idea of sit-tight syndrome, let them see how they can correct it. Let them not see power as the ultimate thing in life. Let them see power as a service rather than as a means for self-corruption, for self-enrichment, for self-content at the expense of their own people. Let them continue to see political power as a privilege extended to them by their people to lead them. After all, it's a social contract. Fulfill your side, I fulfill my side. Things go on. So let the leaders learn on how to always disengage themselves when it is time.
Familiar names like Omar al-Bashir of Sudan, Abdel Aziz Bouteflika of Algeria, Robert Mugabe of Zimbabwe, Blaise Compaoré of Burkina Faso, Michael Jodotia of Central African Republic, Mohamed Morsi of Egypt, and Raimundo Piero of Guinea-Bissau were all ousted from power by their own militaries in recent years. Soldiers in Mali who ousted President Amadou Toumani Touré's regime in 2012, citing incompetence in the fight against Islamists and the Tuareg rebellion, had Malians relive that moment on 18 August 2020 when they overthrew President Keïta for the same obvious reasons. For iAfrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
With that brings this edition of Gambia 24 with me, Sona Tunkara. Please join my colleague Ibrahim Agay for the news in Wolof in half an hour. Good evening.